half a second to go in the game. Lobos can inbound, and that'll bring the final half tick off the clock. Final score, UNM 72, Dixie State 63. Lobos end their 6-game skid in St. George, Utah.
Robert Portnoy giving you the final call of a game that they needed. And they all told you about it. And you could see it in their faces last night from the players who were made available for post-game after wins, not so much losses. And the head coach, who you could tell was relieved and had a big weight lifted off his shoulder last night. 72-63, Lobos win in Dixie. Or at least in St. George, Utah, at Dixie State last night. A good win, a big win in terms of needing it. A big win in terms of confidence and just getting something turned around. A big win in terms of change of scenery and what they're hoping is a change of direction. Happy Thursday to you. Good morning and welcome to award-winning radio on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. I'm Jeff Siembieda with JJ Buck. Micah is producing at the radio station, Radio Ranch downtown. Josh producing for you on the TV side. You can watch the show on ProVNetworks.com or on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM. JJ, a number of things last night. First of all, a more compatible opponent that wasn't huge, and the Lobos had 10 blocks. One off the school record, a rebounding advantage, and just a team that was. I know Lobo, I said this yesterday, Lobo fan doesn't want to hear this, but a team in Dixie State that was much more where they are right now, and they needed this just to go out, get a win, and as I said in the post-game press conference last night, JJ, have fun. Last night was the first time in a bunch of games that I watched that it looked like those guys were having fun again.
It's because they were able to out-athlete Dixie State. It was very similar to the Rice contest to open the season, where you're really not sure what the opponent brings to the table. And for the Lobos,
Josh, you got him, or is that just me that lost him?
No, I disconnected. I lost them.
All right, so JJ disconnected as he was explaining what was going on, but he's right. The Lobos out-athleted Dixie State, and we're better athletes, and they got better performances last night. And do I think it's going to put them on a win streak? I don't know that I think it's going to put them on a winning streak. I think that it can lead to some wins. And as you get out of the Utah States, the Boise States for a little while, and now go into a UNLV team who has a lot of athletes, isn't winning games, and then San Jose State, you got an opportunity maybe to start feeling better about yourself. I don't know how much you watched last night, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. The phone number to get in today is area code 505-246-0610, 505-246-0610, or 888-922-0610. Your emails will come in this morning, Jeff at 610knml.com or JJ at 610knml.com. Go ahead and finish your opening thought on, I saw your mouth moving, but I just didn't hear you.
well, I'm reconnected now, so that's a good thing. I think the first half you saw some of the tendencies that were still there, just not hitting shots, not getting it to fall through, but when their athleticism took over, and that was on both ends of the floor. You mentioned the blocks, what they're able to do rebounding-wise. You know, it was a team that didn't present them a problem size-wise, and so guys were able to be more confident being aggressive. You know, started with Saquon Singleton, who had a really good night overall, and you saw Byron Matos be involved, Aldeo Manuel. Now, this guy's not dealing with a NBA-level 7-footer in the paint, and then they took off on their own. Isaiah Marin was really good off the bench, and yet this Smiles post-game said it all. It was a confidence builder, and what they have to learn to do now is take that when they play better athletes, when they play better competition. What is the execution going to be like? How are they going to handle themselves? Because now UNLV is going to be a team that can match you inside, that's going to have athleticism to press you in the post, and you got a much-needed confidence boost. There are Smiles. The guys talked about the reset, just even 2 days coming back to Albuquerque before going to St. George. Kind of got that deep breath, let's go. And confidence is fickle, but it is key, and especially when you're down, and they were way down, man. It was as bad of a start as they could have in Mountain West play. Understand, did your job, you're able to execute, Now it's going to be a big step forward against UNLV. How will they respond?
Yeah, and I'm not sure I have that answer. I know winning is fun, and it's the stupidest, simplest phrase, but it's what you saw last night. Winning is fun, and these guys all play the game because they love this game and they have fun, and it didn't look fun. Everything that was going on, we saw the Keith McGee announcement yesterday, which really, I think, brought home some of the issues that these guys are going through, living in Lubbock, the uncertainty. That's why I asked the question a couple of times yesterday, JJ, in regards to change of scenery. McQuatch Malawach said it straight up. Yeah, I mean, we needed a change of scenery. Paul said coming home for a couple of days, just being in Albuquerque for a couple of days, just really recharged them and refreshed them. And so now they're in a different spot. They're in St. George. They have an idea what they're going to be like, what the schedule is going to be for the next couple of weeks. You know, it was really interesting, and I didn't ask Paul yesterday, and it didn't feel like the right spot. I don't know that anybody's asked him. What changed? He said, remember last week after the first Utah State loss, where he said the guys were really dejected after we told them that they weren't going back to Albuquerque after Friday's game. Well, they did go back. Remember, they got spanked again in the second game and did go back. So I wonder, I remember saying, well, why would you think you were going back, right? And that was the whole coming back for permanent, for playing. That was my thought process. Well, they did come back for a couple of days. And so I wonder, A, what changed, and B, well, then why did you tell them you weren't? And if that was a big, that whole narrative that was going on there, that whole conversation, I was replaying that in my mind the other day. They did come back. And then they now say it did them a world of good. So I wonder what that whole process was in telling them, yeah, we're not going back, and then whether it was recircling around or what that whole story was.
I'm going to assume it was Dixie State that changed that.
Okay. That you found another place to play, to live, to reside,
the
to
whole
practice.
point of, and I think once we saw it play out and then listening to the responses from Paul Weir, it wasn't a permanent coming home. Like, everyone was freaking out last night.
Right.
How could I think it was a layover. Just, can we come back, maybe get a couple new things, sleep in our own bed for a night, and then move on? And it sounds like what changed all that was Dixie State, was finding that game on the schedule, knowing, all right, this is the next place we're going to be for 2 weeks. And it's confidence. Now, does this mean that they're going to play better against UNLV? No, not at all. But it's a moment that you need along the way. I think the entire week is a reset for Lobo basketball. Their mindset, just smiling after a basketball game. Because what happened against Dixie State has no bearing against UNLV, because it's entirely different competition, and you're going to have to be able to execute against better athletes, quicker guys on the perimeter, and guys inside. But everyone needs one moment. Everyone needs that instance of, oh yes, I can do this. We can do this. Let's stay the course. And it felt for that first half like this could be a really rough night for the Lobos. Yes, it was a 1-point game, and you're right. It's going in. We didn't know what Dixie State was. They were pretty much the Lobos. If the Lobos are a 1-point favorite, then you're saying, yeah, it's pretty much a pick 'em against the opponent. And then you add in the Keith McGee stuff, and fans were really questioning, is this team just going to absolutely fall apart tonight? Is this going to be the ultimate breaking point for the team? And it wasn't, because they still are good athletes and talent-wise. And the thing that jumped out to me, Jeff, is the tempo of this game, I think, was really going to help them just because it was slow. And then it allows the guys, they were going to execute. So they were going to have time to hear everything those coaches were saying, just go through the sets, go through everything they need to on both ends of the floor, and then hope to get them payoff. And they did.
Yeah, I think there were a number of things that played in their favor last night. All of those things are right. I think that the size, and just when we looked at it yesterday, and I said, what do we know about Dixie State? And I just looked. Well, I mean, they're going to start 6'5", 6'6", and 6'9" across the front line, which is something that's going to give New Mexico an advantage. And obviously, they took advantage of it with points of the paint, with rebounds, with blocked shots, and just dominating in the half court offense, at least the way it looked. I want to get into a lot of things on this point guard play and what you think the future is there, because it feels like there may be. I don't know that we're going to find a point guard for the future coming out of this season. I think you're going to go and you're going to look at a couple of guys in Francis and Marin and say, okay, That's probably what we're looking at going forward. How are they going to coexist, and how is it going to play? One guy does things better than the other guy does. I don't know that you've got a complete point guard, at least not yet. Maybe one of them can develop into that. Finding a way to get offense. I thought Singleton was really good yesterday. I thought Marin was good, and to me it allowed Malawach to be who Malawach is supposed to be. And again, to me, he's not supposed to be that go-to scorer. He's a piece. He's a good second, probably more so a third option. And so I thought in a game like that, it allowed them to play to whatever their strengths happen to be, and just get out and do something. I thought defensively they played a lot better. When you out-rebound somebody, what was it, 50-39 in the rebound advantage, obviously that goes a long way as well. So I thought there were a number of things that were good about what they did yesterday. But to me, the biggest thing was just to go out and get some confidence. And I'll give it to Paul, what he said after the game. He said we just needed another basketball game to go out. I needed to let them know that I'm all in. They only turned the ball over 10 times for a Lobo team. For this Lobo team especially, I think that's acceptable, absolutely acceptable. 10 times, and it was just bottom line. I mean, the bottom line, and everything. All three of those guys in the press conference last night. We needed this, right? That's what they said, and I think Lobo fan needed this. If it goes the other way, we're having a different conversation this morning. We're taking a lot of phone calls, just because who it was. They're better than Dixie State. They should be better than Dixie State. They're not a ton better than Dixie State, and they needed a game against Dixie State.
Yeah, it's all about the smiles after game, the confidence, and Paul saying that he didn't want to sit around and just mope for a week, and so that's why things came together. Boom, boom, get him to Dixie State, get him the game in. Let's go. And it was kind of similar to what UNLV did this week. They're a struggling team. They have 2 wins on the season. They played a non-D1 opponent yesterday, got themselves a win, moment of confidence, and knowing it's going to be different when you face a conference opponent. But it's a little steps along the way, especially for a team like New Mexico that's still developing. And these things will matter to the players. Like, we can all see it, the writing on the wall. The coaching staff knows it, that you can't just sit there and go, we were out-rebounded Dixie State, we're going to carry that over. No, it's about learning those moments. And that was one of the things Paul Weir said, is about this team when they play Mountain West front courts. Those guys, Matos, Valder, etc., learning how to execute and play in those situations, because it looked like there was still a little bit of the Neemius Caden nightmares in that first half. Guys a little uncertain about attacking the basket, and it was like, he's not there. Like, you guys are better inside than this team. Go out there and show it. And they eventually did in the second half.
Take it for what it was. It was a good win for their confidence against a middle of the road. We'll see where they are in the WAC. A first-year Division I team by 9 points. I'm not telling you the greatest win ever, but I'm telling you something that they needed. We're going to get more into it. I got emails coming in already regarding last night's game. We're going to get into Keith McGee's decision to leave the program and opt out for the rest of the season. We got the James Harden trade to talk about. Breaking news this morning about Urban Meyer coaching in the National Football League. The WAC is going to make their big announcement today. So we got a ton going on today. 505-246-0610 is how you can get in. Watch the show on ProView Networks, and you're listening on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
You've seen Rich Eisen on...
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Let's see if Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovis.
That replay,
I got you.
Measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Step it up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up, man's wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Guyan. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him.
72-63. Lobos were winners last night in St. George, Utah. They beat Dixie State. How do you feel about that? They felt great about it. They needed that. It was a good win for their psyche. It was I don't know if it was a good win for your psyche or not. It's interesting the response that I'm getting, JJ. I told you, this is one of those where they didn't win by enough for some fans, right? This is, and my benchmark always is that game in Craig Neal's time here, excuse me, when they won in Fresno by, I don't know, 3-4 points, and I came in the next morning and thought Lobo fan was going to be excited about a road win in the Mountain West, and people lost their minds that they only beat that team by 4. I know you remember that morning. I don't know what was going to be good enough for you. Obviously, they didn't play this game for you as a fan. They played this game for themselves because they needed this game. But I'll give you two that have come in already. Jeremy says that was disgusting. Jeff, there were no positives coming out of that mess. Looked like 2 JC teams playing at the local rec center. Okay, I thought it was certainly better than that. Lobo Hobo says the relief was palpable. You could see when Weir shook his fist as Lobo basketball crossed the finish line that a disaster was avoided. I'd rather lose to the Aztecs by 30 than what I saw last night struggling against a first-year D1 program exactly 12 months ago was playing at Chadron State and the RMAC. So Lobo fan, at least those two, aren't all that impressed. I would tell you to tap the brakes a touch. It's where you are. I guess you expected to go in and win by 30 last night. That's, I think, pretty much what you and I expected last night. We were saying a 6 to 7 point Lobo win. They go 1 by 9.
It's not what people want to hear, but it's the reality of the situation. That's where this Lobo team is, and they're still more talented than Dixie State. But in terms of execution, getting shots to constantly fall from the perimeter, it's not there. And that team's not going to be that squad this year in terms of being able to run away from anyone with the way they play offense. But you look at it, there were a lot of young players that needed a confidence boost. It starts with Isaiah Murrin in the backcourt, Matos, Valdir, like they needed a confidence boost. And you can take it from what it is. If you're going to be disappointed, then you're going to be disappointed all year long with this little basketball team. Because I know there's people that are past the point of no return. But the reality of it was there are young dudes that needed a confidence boost, that needed to see some shots fall, needed to see some execution of the offense work out, just their effort pay off defensively. And they did that because they were able to out-athlete Dixie State in a basketball game.
I didn't ask Paul this, and I was thinking of this last night, but I had already asked two, and I probably used my allotment of questions in the. I'm glad Isabel got one in, though. It was nice of Paul to say, Lee cut you off. What does it do to the rotation with Keith McGee not there anymore? Where are those minutes? How do you get him? He shortened the bench yesterday. He had played 15 guys the other night. I think 9 played last night. Now, obviously, one of them was not there. No Vegscheider last night. No Quach last night. And typically, that's not a bad thing. You get to a point and you shorten the bench. But what that means with Keith gone, and I'll get back to more of these emails in a second. But the news, if you missed it yesterday, that Keith McGee had left the team, and Keith opted out. He put out a note on Twitter saying that he was dealing with it. I'm looking for the exact, here it is. Let me read part of it to you. Due to COVID-19, I've decided to opt out of this season. What our team has experienced this year has had a major impact on my mental and physical well-being. My health and safety is more important than the game I love right now. To my teammates and coaches, you guys have been a great support system. Thank you, Lobo Nation, for all the amazing memories these last 3 years. This place will always be in my heart, and I will forever call the pit home. Go Lobos, Keith McGee. A little bit, I'm not going to, it was surprising to me. I mean, honestly, it's not something I thought about pinpointing a certain individual. It shouldn't be surprising that anybody makes that decision. It's been tough. I read a lot of stuff yesterday. Oh, yeah, it's their record. They're 0-6. He's jumping ship. I'm not going to get into that young man's head. I'm going to take this one at face value, and if that young man says he's struggling with his mental health and that's what's going to be important, I'm going to side with him and say, go take care of what you got to take care of, young man, and move forward. Paul Weir said after the game last night that Keith had expressed to him that getting his degree was paramount. They want to make sure he gets his degree. Go take care of yourself, and if he plays again, then he plays again. I think that's great. It's a loss for their team, but I'm never going to bang on a young man for taking care of his mental health.
No, and it's something that Weir has hinted at over the course of the season when talking about Keith McGee and their relationship and just where Keith McGee is as a person. And he's brought it up a couple times that he's talked to Keith saying, hey, do you need something else to happen? Do you want to play basketball this season? So it's something that Paul Weir has addressed publicly since the start of the season in regards to Keith McGee, and ultimately came to a head this week when they returned to Albuquerque. And there's absolutely zero ill will, it looks like, in this situation. And Paul said it last night too. He's all in. He's behind Keith McGee, supports him in this decision. It doesn't sound like Keith has anything else going on behind the scenes where he says, going to drop a bunch of stuff on social media after their season, like, let me tell you about this dude or these guys. To your point, it was just a decision a young man made about what is best for him right now. It's always difficult when your team is struggling and then you step away because you're going to hear that. And a lot of people were saying that was, oh, this is just the first mini because they're not playing any good. So why would people hold serve? Right. Not quite the case. We don't know that totally right now, but it looks like it was a situation with both parties agreed to it. We're fine with it, understood each other, and like I said, no ill will, at least at this moment in time, between Paul Weir and Keith McGee.
We talk all the time. We don't know these guys. I mean, we know them a little bit, but they're young men, young women in the women's case, that are going through life and growing and experiencing. And we talk about them all the time. We went through the whole thing with the Jaquan stuff last year, and we're rough on him. Now, and Jaquan continually made bad decisions. Guys are, I ask people all the time, think of where you were when you were 18, 19, 22 years old. Go back, put yourself there. Think of the decisions you made, and then put yourself in a position of having so much of what you do in the public eye and the pressure. Yeah, it's great to be a Lobo basketball player. The adulation, the lights, the game, it's good. And with it comes a lot of stress. And not everybody. First of all, this season is just so off the charts anyway, right? And you can tell me, Jeff, they're all dealing with it. Yeah, they are. And they all deal with it differently. And you don't know what's going on in Keith's life. I don't know what's going on in Keith's life. And I'm never going to question something like this. And I think 85% of Lobo fan is behind this young man. Some of the stuff you see, and this is why I hate the social media so much sometimes, is it's just people know. People think they know, and it's because of, what their record is. Maybe. But I doubt it. I'm going to take him for what it is. And it just gets to times, JJ, where I know we're supposed to be hot take guys and have these opinions. I'm not going to have an opinion on something like that. If a guy tells me that he's taking care of his mental health and he needs to take care of himself with what's going on in this world right now, and what I'm seeing firsthand and reading about with athletes and people all over the world going through what we're going through, everybody handles it differently. I'm not going to think any less of him. In fact, I'm going to think more of that young man for recognizing what's going on, making a tough decision, and opting to take care of himself.
Yeah, I don't think it's a situation where it's just the start of this mass exodus from Lobo basketball, and then player after player after player is going to start opting out of the season. Right now, it was this individual, Keith McGee, what he felt about his life, basketball, what he wants to do, focused on graduating, which is great when you hear that. Like, it's just not he's dropping off the grid and going away. He just needed time to handle whatever is going on.
All right, come on in on Lobo basketball last night, 72-63. When we come back, I'm going to get you a few more emails and a few more takes on what they did, and get you around the league, what else happened yesterday. We got to get into the Harden trade. How did the Rockets do with that? And boy, what is assembled in Brooklyn now, and what the Nets have potentially sitting there on their roster. We will get into Urban Meyer. If you're just waking up this morning, reports are Urban Meyer is close to becoming the head football coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, going to the NFL. So we'll get there and what that would mean. Jerry Palm's due to be with us at 8:30 this morning, so we'll wrap up college football with him as well. 505-246-0610. That's how you can get at us. I got a bunch of emails already in this morning. Jeff at 610knml.com or JJ at 610knml.com. You're watching ProView Networks and listening to The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown
in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Screechers Brown. You can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan. Has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Forward dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround.
Former Seahawks running back.
Y'all right now, while y'all in it, take care of y'all breathe. So when y'all done, you go ahead and take care of yourself. So while y'all at it right now, take care of y'all bodies. You know what I mean? Don't take care of y'all chicken. You feel me? Don't take care of y'all mentals. Because look, we ain't lasting that long. You know, I had a couple players that I played with that, you know what I mean, they no longer here no more. They no longer. So, I mean, you feel me? Start taking care of y'all mentals, y'all bodies, and y'all chicken for when y'all, you know, ready to walk away.
Take care of your bodies, take care of your mentals, take care of y'all's chickens. And when you're ready to walk away, you'll be all right. It's the opening drive. It's 505-246-0610 if you want to get in. Jeff, JJ, Micah, and Josh. Keith McGee left the program yesterday. He's opted out of the program. JJ, I guess there's a chance he comes back. I got this one from Tellis. He says, what's wrong with my guy, McQuatch Malawach? That was the kind of game last night where he should have been able to name his stat line. There's nobody in St. George, Utah that should be able to stop him. P.S. I got a different take on McGee. Since the semester hasn't started yet, is there a chance he ends up on another roster before the end of the season? I'm going to tell you I don't think so. So I would have 2 years ago told you no. There's no way. What I heard yesterday is Keith McGee is with the Lobos. After what I saw with Anthony Mathis, I'll rule nothing out as far as transfers, right? The Anthony Mathis thing is the one that just, after they went to bat and got that young man another year of eligibility, the next thing I know, he's out. I guess nothing will surprise me anymore. I would tell you, I would guess Keith McGee is not going to transfer, but at this point, would anything shock me? No.
Yeah, you can put percentages on it. I think that's about the best you can do in a situation like this. I think it's 85% sure Keith McGee is not going to wind up somewhere else, but you're not entirely sure about it. And I think I'm going to watch Malawach. What more do you need to know? He's a talented player. He's not take over a game all conference, get you 20 night in and night out, dude. Not the way he plays.
And last night seemed to be kind of a perfect night from, what did he have, 12 and 6 last night, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought he played well. That's where he's at his best. If you're going to rely on him to take over a game, he might let you down. It's just not who. It's not who he is. This is from Dean. And I just put it in my trash, so let me go back over there and find it. But Dean's talking about rebuild. He says, "Good morning, men. My question, you guys might answer, we might. Why in year 4 of a coaching contract, are Lobos still rebuilding? Plus, the doctor was so high on Vegscheider and Quach. So then we rebuild again next year if 4 or more players leave, which will happen. How many wins in conference will be considered acceptable? Thank you." That's from Dean. A few questions in there. You're in a rebuild this year because of the mass turnover from last year. Now, why did mass turnover happen last year? Lyle, Caldwell, Bragg, all had to happen, right? Whether that was the end of eligibility or what happened, right? Those
2 were going to be gone regardless.
Right. And then you lose Vance Jackson, who was your best. He opted out with everything that was going on.
Vance,
that's what I said. Yeah. Well, he opted out. He opted to transfer. He opted to get out. I didn't opt out. Sorry, you're right. That term means something differently now. Right. Right. But did he opt out? I mean, he opted to leave, correct?
Yes, he left the university.
Okay, he opted to transfer. With what happened last year, and look, you can say, why did it happen? It's on the coach, and you would be right. Okay, but that's why you're where you are now. JJ, he asked how many wins will be acceptable, conference wins. I don't think anything that they're going to put up is going to be acceptable for Lobo fans as far as wins. Do you?
Yes, so with the way it started, I don't, unless they win out or do something crazy again in Las Vegas, it's going to be really hard to overcome what we saw in those first 6 games.
Yeah, I think, as we've sat here and tried to analyze why is Lobo fan where they are, and it's obvious. You're 0-6 in the league and getting beat by an average of 26 points. I think Spartan fan would be upset with that, right? I mean, anybody, pick your fan. Dixie State fan will be upset if they're 0-6 in the WAC and getting beat by 26 points, even if it's in their first year, right? Any fan base will. And then, he says, you're in your 4th year, and it's a rebuild. I get it. I get it. And I'll go back to what I said a couple days ago. If you're rebuilding coming off a championship, or you're rebuilding coming off of a really good run, you'd be more apt to accept it. There'd be more of an appetite to say, all right, we're in a rebuilding year, but I know where we can go. Rebuilding coming off of what happened last year. Look, remember, weren't they 10-1 at one point last year? Everything was pointing, and then the whole thing imploded. That's why. And that guy, look, he's not yelling, he's not screaming, he's saying, why are we here? And that's where Lobo fan who's at that point, that's why they're there.
And it's also, you're not the program anymore that's reloading every single year. Like San Diego State, Boise State at this point in time. Heck, we're seeing out of Utah State, who's favored in tonight's game over San Diego State. They have found a consistency in their program to be an upper echelon team, and the Lobos are not that. And that's why they're rebuilding again, because this is actually shouldn't be that surprising, because it's not like Paul Weir came into something and was trying to keep it at a certain level. It's things have dropped. And year 4, with what we saw over the last 2 years, it's the time makes sense, like why this roster would be the way it is. But since you didn't have that payoff, it's more of the same. And you can explain it. Well, last year was supposed to be, then it collapsed. Well, why did it collapse? Well, we've been over that time and time again. But it's not that shocking that they're in this position, just given if you look at the last 7 years of this program, they haven't found that consistency, and they're kind of back to where they would have been. Even if this team won the Mountain West last year, like this roster wouldn't be all that different. Like maybe Vance Jackson comes back,
maybe.
Other than that, you're still bringing in all.
Who else would be back? Who else would have been back from last year? I mean,
So JJ Caldwell and Vance Jackson has been pretty good.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I mean, that's a big difference, isn't it? It's a big difference. The other thing, and Paul talked about this. He said it was like our first college basketball game. There was attendance. He said we got off the bus to go practice. He says, like, I forgot school was in session. So there's kids walking around with backpacks and going to class, and there was a student section and people yelling at him last night. And he said it was the first time it felt like why they play college basketball, which I think is not a throwaway anecdote. I think there's something to it, because I don't know when they're going to do that again, by the way.
Who knew you'd be happy to have people yelling at you?
Right? I mean, but don't you think there's something to it? Like just, I don't know, man. I don't know what's normal anymore. I don't know if having 1,000 people in a little gym in St. George, Utah is normal or some semblance thereof. I don't know.
Like playing San Jose State, probably.
Probably not dissimilar to playing San Jose State. Yeah, probably not dissimilar to that. By the way, from what I understand, there will not be fans allowed. I got an email yesterday from someone saying, can I get tickets? Can I go see the Lobos play in St. George? From my understanding, the answer is no when it comes to that. All right, 505-246-0610. I'll get to whatever emails on Lobo basketball I didn't get to. I'll get to a little bit later. When we come back, I want to get into the James Harden trade. You're welcome at whatever point to get in on Lobos. Boy, what a blockbuster yesterday. A mega trade. Did the Rockets get enough? And
well, I told you the Nets. I just didn't think it would be Kyrie staying in Brooklyn to get this all done.
Well, didn't he have to be there to stay? He stayed on the roster.
But he's on the payroll still.
He certainly is on the payroll. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Rise and fire. He's fouled.
He used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair and hot it, sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move. Loose, DJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous. Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam on home.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up off the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds, into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portell.
Oh, yeah, I think everybody has, throughout the league, is trying to work out the kinks and figure out their lineups and rotations and stuff. And we're no different. And I think moving forward, I mean, we will always make adjustments and try to get better every single day. That's always been the goal. And try not to worry too much about the future. Just focus on what's in front of us today.
Well, they got better yesterday, that's for sure. Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets. They got James Harden. You don't think they got better? You gave me that look
better.
like,
They gutted that roster. So it's not just figuring out who we are, it's figuring out who's on your team. Hi, my name is who? My name is what? My name is James Harden.
Hi, my name is. Hi, my name is. Hi, my name is. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? James Harden goes to the Nets. Karis LeVert ends up going to Indianapolis. In this, Victor Oladipo goes to Houston. After James Harden, who's the best player in this trade?
Karis LeVert.
I think so too. After Karis LeVert, who's the best player in this trade? Is it Jared Allen, who went to Cleveland?
It's Victor Oladipo, then Jared Allen.
Okay.
I think Oladipo is, still he had that massive quad injury, ripping the muscle off the bone. He's coming back. And that's why I think if I'm the Pacers, like Victor Oladipo is a good player, but they got better bringing in Karis LeVert.
No doubt. And Victor Oladipo's on an expiring contract. So I now look, you got a ton of picks. If you're Houston, you got Victor Oladipo and you got Dante Exum and you got what, 4 first-round picks and then 4 swaps. Meaning, if the Nets are better, which I don't think they will be, draft position than the Rockets over those years, you get the swap, which I don't think they will be. The best player coming back went to Indiana, I think, and then you can make an argument on Jared Allen and Oladipo. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, and Josh. You did say the Nets. I think everybody was kind of leaning Nets. That's where Harden wanted to go. They gutted their roster, or at least took a big chunk of their roster out in Brooklyn to go with this big 3. This big 3 works if part of their 3 goes to work. Look, so much has been said about Kyrie Irving, and I said it yesterday. I don't know how this works much longer. Kyrie Irving is healthy. He's on video going to parties. The media are peons in his word. He's got other things that are more important. However, he's accepting his $34 million salary and getting paid every week. I don't know how much longer you can make that last. I don't know how much longer KD is going to put up with that crap. Are the Nets the favorites if it's KD and Harden? I'm talking about out of the East, and I think they still are. But does it work to the level they want it to work if it's just KD and Harden if Kyrie isn't there?
I can't say they're the favorites just yet, because at some point in time you do have to have other players on a roster step up. And they went from having a team that was beginning of the season constructed that I thought they could be a team right away that gets to Eastern Conference Finals. And we were talking about chemistry in that first season, but they were talented enough with Kyrie, Dinwiddie, LeVert, Jarrett Allen. They're like, oh yeah, this is legit. Now LeVert's gone, Dinwiddie tore his ACL, Jarrett Allen's in Cleveland, and you're starting DeAndre Jordan once again with a bunch of people who are like, wait, who are these guys? So they're going to be competitive. I think it's a longer learning curve for them now that they don't have the depth. They don't have the role players, but they're going to be a monster still at times on the court with James Harden and Kevin Durant, because they're going to be able to play together. Harden's going to score, and KD's an eraser. He puts it in on the defensive end, and he's a guy that can come from the help side, does a pretty good job. So ultimately, I think what this says from the Nets is not necessarily that it's the big three that they wanted. I think it's showing that Brooklyn has no idea if Kyrie Irving is going to play this season.
Yeah, I think that's really I'm going to tell you, I think he comes back, because I think that paycheck is really important to him. I think he wants that money. I don't blame him. I'd want that money too. At some point, I think the organization's got to step in, say, do you want to be here? Now, the organization isn't going to do that without first going to Kevin Durant. And I think Kevin Durant's going to have a big say in this. How much appetite, how much tolerance does Kevin Durant have for this? Here's, and I kind of alluded to this yesterday. You got to go to work. It's one thing if you're hurt, but here's one thing. If you think of the guys that are paid ridiculous numbers in sport, I don't care if it's Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Mike Trout or LeBron James or Steph Curry. What do they all have in common? They go to work. They show up. They've got a passion. Their trade is their priority. By every account, and I don't know Kyrie Irving, but by every account, what he's showing you is his trade is not his priority right now. Look, I don't care if it's COVID or whatever is going on. Everybody's dealing with it, and they're going to work. And if you want to retire, you want to take a leave, that's cool, man. Go do your thing. But so that's where I'm with you. Are they, if let's say they were going to have a big two, they better off, and Harden and Kevin Durant play together in Oklahoma City. Are they better off with Harden and KD or Kyrie and KD? Because I think Harden, simply because reliability, that he's going to be there every day. He doesn't play any defense. But now they're not better off if it's those two currently, because to your point, they got the rest of the roster. So they don't have the rest of those guys. And so I wonder if it's just going to be those two and the roster is currently constructed. I think they make a deep run. But that's where I am with Kyrie. How do you trust a man who obviously is not vested in what you're doing? Whether it's you or me or Micah or anybody else, you've got to trust the people with whom you work, that they're going to show up and go to work every day.
It's James Harden.
And Josh. Don't forget Josh.
Josh. He's there day in and day out. It's James Harden. Kyrie, the basketball player, I love him. Of my short time watching basketball at a high level, understanding the game, there is not a better player from the guard position scoring inside than Kyrie Irving. Like, he, in my opinion, matches Allen Iverson in that type of game. Like, inside scoring at the rim, where a guy is not, it's not authority. He's dunking over people. He's scoring inside, the touch he has on the basketball. I have not watched a better player in my lifetime. So I am all in on Kyrie Irving, the basketball player. But Kyrie Irving, the person, is lost right now because we don't know what he's doing. He's not talking to anybody. If you don't want to play basketball, fine.
That's right.
But you can't, even in that different business sports world, you can't just not show up and expect a franchise to pay you $60 million. Like, at some point in time, Brooklyn is going to have to step up and step in and say, all right, well, we'll put this contract on hold. Like, the league is going to have to step in, Because if Kyrie doesn't want to play, if he's got a lot going on, fine, deal with it. You have that right. But we can't.
Why does
just
the league
sit here? The league is going to have to step up in this.
Why not the owner or the Nets? Why
is going to get involved? Because there's probably legal stuff when it comes to contract details, and
guy's got to go to work, doesn't he?
I'm sure he does, but there's more stuff going on behind the scenes, and it's not as simple as just Brooklyn saying we're going to stop paying you. You can start fining him. But it's going to get to that point where the league's involved, front office making decisions. Like, it's going to get messy, but it's going to have to be because he's not showing up, to your point. But if he's not telling anyone anything, that's why it's going to get to that position. Kyrie Irving has made a ton of money from the Brooklyn Nets already, and he's only been available for 30% of the games since he signed there.
Well, how would you play this? You're the GM or ownership of the Nets, because I'm going to tell you straight up, I would have already had, or would be having today, but it would have happened already, a conversation with Kevin Durant. Why am I going to Kevin Durant? Because he's my best player. Kyrie's here because KD's there. I'm putting together. Kevin Durant's my centerpiece. And where are you with this, KD? Because I'll tell you straight up, here's where I am. I'm done. If he don't want to come to work, that's cool. We're going to void his contract. Does that mean he can go play with the Lakers or go play with the Sixers? Or yeah, it might. Or maybe there's a way to legally, and I would have my lawyers look at it. Can we stop paying him? But I'm not voiding his contract, letting him go play for the Sixers and beat us next week. But I got to make sure Kevin Durant's on board. Do you agree with that?
Yes, that is a different game in which we're talking one superstar being involved in roster conversation absolutely matters.
And explain to him, man, you're going to work every day. You just went through this rehab with the understanding that this guy's going to be there and you can't trust him and I can't trust him. And what's going on is BS. And here's what I got to do. Are you on board or do you have a better suggestion? Now, if KD says, no, man, we got to let it ride, then I got a problem, right? Then I got a problem. Then I got a decision to make. But I would go to my superstar, who, by the way, is coming to work. This is where there's a similarity with life. As much as we say you can't tell me big time sports is like life. Here's a similarity. I got to be able to trust the guy next to me. I got to be able to trust that you're going to come to work every day, and Mike is going to come to work every day, and Josh and Alden and right, they're all going to show up, even J-Pole. How do you trust that guy? I mean, isn't that similar? Isn't that the same thing?
It is.
All right. Come back. How'd the Rockets do? They got a haul. Is their haul big enough? Get more into the Lobos' victory, 72-63 at Dixie State last night as well in the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a
around the screen against White. Step back, it's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-man hammer.
Those are winners in St. George, Utah last night. They played Dixie State out of the Western Athletic Conference. WAC's got a big announcement today, JJ, 10 o'clock our time. Tentatively, JJ, Jeff Hurd, the commissioner of the Western Athletic Conference, is going to be with us tomorrow. As soon as I get confirmation on time, I will let you know. But Jeff Hurd, who has been with the WAC since the Lobos were in the WAC, he goes all the way back. He was the associate or the deputy commissioner when Carl Benson was the commissioner of the WAC way back in the day. And Jeff is, I think, I've told you this. I think Jeff has done a tremendous job, keeping that league together. And I don't care if you know the names or not that are going to go in and form this football league today. But keeping this league together that was on the brink and now being able to expand and the announcement will come today. I think Jeff's done a terrific job.
And it's something when you look at who's involved that, all right, New Mexico State is a part of this conversation. They're looking at the transition, what that timeline is going to be, pushing forward as a D1 independent. And then when the WAC, if and when it becomes an FBS football member, could have a home for your football team.
It looks like they're going to start up football again in the FCS level. And again, teams that are joining the WAC next year: Southern Utah, Stephen F. Austin, Sam Houston, Lamar, Abilene Christian. That goes with Dixie State and Tarleton, who were in this year. So there's your 7 football playing schools. And, we'll talk to Jeff and what this means moving forward and what the goal is. But the announcement is at 10 o'clock today. I think it's good news for New Mexico State in regards to the other sports. Now, I mean, we got other realignment conversations that are going on, and we're going to go to the phones here in a minute. There's a lot of chatter, JJ, about Boise State with the American Athletic Conference. Not just Boise State now, but San Diego State supposedly talking with the AAC, and the AAC's at 11 football playing members. Would they go with 3? Would they take Air Force, Boise State, San Diego State? Would all those teams go? What that would do to the Mountain West? Obviously, that's not good news for the Mountain West. I don't know if it behooves those schools. I don't know that I think it's the best thing for them, but what I think really doesn't matter. Evidently, those conversations are going on. I think that's concerning.
It is very concerning that it's still ongoing, and then if there's other members involved leaving the Mountain West, that could be very bad for this conference. And the American Athletic Conference is good. It has been better at the top over the last years when it comes to their football teams, no question. And they've been able to build an image that they are the next conference. And so if I'm the Mountain West, I'm sitting there going, where did we go wrong? And then how do we start pushing back? Because Boise State joins the AAC, if they have a season that they expect, they're in the same exact place. They're a group of 5 representative. They're not any further. They're not any worse. They're in the same exact place. But there's this feeling, this sense, and it's in the fan bases, college football, basketball fans, football fans, put it out there that they buy into what the AAC is selling.
And is the grass greener? We talk about money, and I don't know what the money would look like if you divide that AAC pot by 12 or 14. Is it much more money than what's going to be with the Mountain West deal? I think there's a piece that they think that college football playoff is going to expand to 8, and that somehow the addition of these schools is going to get them an automatic qualifier, make them a Power 6. And get them out of the group of 5 thing and somehow get them an automatic qualifier. I don't think that happens, by the way. I don't think the Power 5 or the Autonomous 5 are going to let them in. Why would they? I
think they're going to keep it the same. Even if it does expand, they'll just say, group of 5, one of y'all will get a seat, not your conference, because I think what the ultimate other carrot, if there's a bunch of carrots dangling after this 5-year period for expansion, would be to have those 2 at-large bids, because you could get your second SEC team, whatever, et cetera, into the playoff.
No, that's right. And so then they beat each other up like the Pac-12 does, and there's a Mountain West team that goes undefeated, or a WAC team, or a Sun Belt team, and do they get that instead? So my gut tells me this isn't good for the Mountain West. And I agree with you. The Mountain West has got to get aggressive now and figure out how to keep those teams in the fold. Rudy, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Thanks for holding, Rudy. How you living?
Good morning. Boise and San Diego State think that they're better than the league. They're going to find out that they're not. Boise's not going to get a sweetheart deal where they get more money than any other teams in the American Association. Their little party will come to an end. And what it really is they float that out there to gain leverage in the conference. That's what they do. They think they're better, so they want to be treated better. Leave, really. If you don't want to be part of this conference, we'll find some other people. It didn't work out for BYU, did it?
I don't think it did, no.
No, it didn't. They went from, if they could run the table here, they'd be in a Power 5 bowl to they're irrelevant. Have you ever heard the old saying, I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt?
Yes.
So that's what's been going on with UNM basketball. When you don't get enough practice and you don't have enough games before you get into conference, and you have a young team and you don't know what your parts are supposed to do, and nobody is meshed, that's exactly what happens. And why they were shooting so poorly is because they were in doubt. You could see it. Last night, finally, Marin said, I'm going to knock this shot down, and he did. Then he knocked another one down. Saquon said, I'm going to make this free throw. Then he made another one. And it's amazing what confidence does for you, isn't it?
It is.
And that's why I always say that when I play golf. I may be wrong, but I'm not in doubt about which club I pulled and what swing I want to make here. Because the moment you start going, is this right? Is this right? You're wrong.
You got to buy into it. What do they always tell you? You got to pick a club and buy into it.
Buy into it. You got to take dead aim and visualize the shot. And I thought I saw some marked improvement, at least in relaxing and playing basketball. Matos was trying to crush the ball every time he grabbed it instead of just hold it. He was trying to slam it instead of just getting in the bucket. And once you start doing that, and obviously, look, Keita is probably one of the elite big men in the country right now.
I think that's right.
I put Neemias Keita up there with Luke Garza and this Dickinson kid from Michigan. And by the way, Michigan, they're the first team in the history of the NCAA men's basketball to beat 3 ranked opponents by 19 points or more. Okay, so there's a team that's never in doubt. Have you watched them play?
A little bit. JJ, you probably watch them more than me, right?
Pretty good.
Michigan is probably one of the top 3 teams in the country. I think they could get out there and hang with Gonzaga, no problem. I think they could hang with Baylor, no problem. They're a complete team. They've meshed. They can score from anywhere. That Jonde Brown, I don't know where that kid came from, but he looks like a 10-year NBA pro, the way he moves on the court. So I think Michigan's going to be relevant. I think New Mexico can work their way towards relevancy if they just not doubt what they're doing. And that's the biggest thing, man. You got to have confidence in what you're doing, and this team didn't have any confidence. As far as Keith McGee's concerned, if Keith doesn't have his heart into it, and if he's playing with one eye, looking at what his situation is, and he doesn't have both eyes on the court and on the ball, I never, since this pandemic started, I never ask or question anybody's motives to do anything. If they think it's best for them, then that's what they have to do. And I wish Keith McGee the best. And, sometimes you get addition by subtraction. So maybe that distraction or whatever was going on with Keith personally will remove a barrier to the team's success. If that happens, then it worked out for the best. And if it doesn't, that's just the breaks.
No, I think the young man's got to take care of himself. All right, man, it's good to hear you. Appreciate the phone call always. Rudy called it 246-0610. I don't know if you get better with Keith McGee as a basketball team. Then we haven't really talked about it basketball-wise. I think you lose a pretty key component, and I think he was your best shooter. But life happens.
Yeah, you deal with the situation, and it means that there's more opportunity for someone else to step up. Being around this team when we could be around it, just listening to the players talk. Keith McGee has talked multiple times, and it doesn't ever feel like he was a problem.
No.
Like his attitude, his energy, the way he talked after games, even after some of the losses early in conference play. Keith McGee wasn't a problem. It was just more Keith McGee had to figure himself out, and this is the decision he came to.
I think that's right. And he's got to go take care of himself. And that's what he's going to do. All right, back to it when we get back. Jerry Palm at the bottom of the hour, 505-246-0610. That's how to get into us today. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Staples has what you need to start the year right, like paper, ink.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's gonna run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Domina Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. looking, lob, tagged by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Palm.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
It couldn't have started probably any worse than it did from a confidence standpoint. And for the guys to kind of buckle down and close out that first half defensively and then carry that through really up until about 3 or 4 minutes to go is probably our best stretch of defensive basketball of the season. And that was really the most encouraging thing to me.
It's Paul Weir, Lobo basketball coach, after a 72-63 victory against Dixie State on the road last night, snapping a 6-game skid. The Lobos' second victory of the year against a Division I team. Dixie State, first-year Division I in the WAC. They beat Rice to open the season before beating up on Our Lady of the Lake and the Tournoi, which is the French restaurant you'll take your lady to for Valentine's Day coming up next month. Jeff, JJ, Micah, and Josh, the opening drive. JJ, this just came down a short while ago, according to CBS Sports. The Philadelphia Eagles are requesting permission to interview Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, for their head coaching position. Kellen's 32, evidently turned down the head coaching job at his alma mater, Boise State. Jerry paid him handsomely to stay as the offensive coordinator. Like, Kellen's rise in this profession is meteoric at 32. Evidently, and again, a coach's kid. I've been through this a million times. To me, I always think there's something about a coach's kid, but obviously an incredible mind. And the Eagle, this is a little surprising. Like, where the Eagles going to go? I don't know if they hire Kellen Moore, but I like that they're interviewing Kellen Moore.
It's great for the rivalry. Let's go talk to the Dallas Cowboys OC, Jerry Jones's boy, someone he loves. You know what the answer is going to be? No. Can we talk to Kellen? No.
So
you don't just pay him that money and then let him become a head coach of a rival in your division.
How does that work? And maybe this would be a little Ned James territory. If you've got a coordinator who's got an opportunity to interview for a head coaching job, even if it's one of your arch rivals, it always felt like permission was just a courtesy. Now, granted, he's under contract, so you've got to have permission to speak to somebody about another job. But it always felt like it was a formality. How do you deny a guy permission to talk about one of only 32 positions in the world? I mean, there's only 32 head coaching jobs in the National Football League in the world, right? How do you deny? Like, it always felt like it's just a formality. Yeah, of course you can talk to a guy. Do you recall a time where ownership has said no, you cannot talk to him?
Not off the top of my head. I'm sure there's stories out there and we can find them very easily. I could absolutely see Jerry Jones saying no in this situation. I'm like, Kellen, you're my boy. I just paid you. Not going to coach the Eagles.
And there's about as much chance of you going with the Eagles as there is of me circumcising a mosquito.
It's just an interview, so it's not a given that they're going to hire him. But that's taking a shot. That's saying, all right, we're going to our rival. Yeah. We're going to go talk to their favorite toy in the coaching staff right now, which is Kellen Moore, someone that they just gave a bunch of money to, who's flirting with Boise State. Let's bring him in and talk to him, pick his brain a little bit, see how this goes.
I think that's right. All right, back to it. 505-246-0610. Edward, thank you for holding. You are now on the Quans Auto Care Hotline. Good day, sir.
Good day. It is an honor to be on the Quans Hotline. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I have a tapestry of topics. Kellen Moore, I know you're a big fan of Kellen Moore. I think he had a stellar college career. And I broke this down for you last week. You take Kellen Moore, and I know it's a courtesy interview, 32-game sample size. So quite succinctly, you won't score against good teams. You won't have the ability. You won't have the ability to score, and then against good teams, you'll go down 3 scores, and your quarterback will put up inconsequential yardage and TDs just to try to get the team back in the game. And you would have beaten one playoff team in a 32-game sample size.
So I'm going to counter you on that because all of those facts are real. I think they lack context. Okay. I'll give you. Let's take some of those games where they were down early. Did Kellen Moore fumble the ball like Ezekiel Elliott did 3 times, or throw the ball away like Dak Prescott did? You're right. It's a show me business and it's a result business. But everybody can't be wrong on this young man. Like everybody who is in love with his intellect and what he's doing can't be wrong. And I think you agree with me that players make plays and coaches get too much credit and too much blame. And so if you want to go back and look at some of those, and you're 100% right on all of the stats and what they're doing. However, did Kellen Moore fumble the ball 3 times? Did he turn the ball over 3 times in the first quarter to get him down to the Falcons and the Browns and all those things? Like I think you've got to look a little deeper and say there's got to be something there if everybody unanimously is in love with this young man.
Jeff, you are resoundingly correct. Let me contextualize. On average, an NFL team has 10 to 12 possessions per game. Fumbles are going to happen, pass interferences, holding calls, whatever. You have to be able to normalize those anomalies by solid execution in your 10 to 12 possessions per game. Not when you're down 3 scores and Dak Prescott is dumping off passes to get you back in the game because the defense has softened up. Hey, I don't care, honestly. I just think it's interesting, and to me, it's a good opportunity for a 32-year-old. But I do have other points, my friends.
Please.
Hey, I don't think us as Lowell fans, and I'm not a big Lowell fan, but I just kind of when in Rome, when in Albuquerque, be an Albuquerquean. Let's not disparage that win last night against the Dixie Chicks. Any win we get is the Dixie Chicks are a talented group. They won some Grammys and whatnot. When do we play? We need this momentum as we go in and play Hootie and the Blowfish next week. So, they're a talented group as well, multifaceted, and I think that we can build some momentum. On a more serious note, Kyrie Irving, what would be freaking awesome? I almost want to write the commissioner. I told my son to do it. They should trade Kyrie Irving for Westbrook and get the band back together. That way they can lose to LeBron James again in the finals if they make it there. Would that not be awesome to see those 3 get back together?
I think they'd be better off that way.
Kyrie Irving problem.
Although there's not enough basketballs there, but yeah, I think they'd be better off without Kyrie.
Urban Meyer, when he finalizes this contract, I'm almost going to make a bold guarantee. The Jacksonville Jaguars will contend for the AFC title within 3 to 4 years. When they get Sunshine, Micah's twin, and then he brings in the draft picks and they have draft equity. And they are not in a salary cap situation, they will contend. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but they will contend for the AFC title within 3 to 4 years. And Cowboy fans are not going to hear this, but since the last Cowboy Super Bowl, the Jacksonville Jaguars have played in 3 AFC title games, and that'll be their 4th. My bold prediction is they'll make a conference title game before the Cowboys snap one. Quite succinctly, going in the playoff games this week, I'm just going to talk about the ones on Saturday. The Packers are 6.5-point favorites. The simplest thing that I got to look at is who's better coach and who has a better quarterback, right? And I like your Rams, Jeff. I do. I'm a Nolan Cromwell fan back in the day, but I just think that Rodgers is going to win his 3rd MVP. He's playing incredibly. They have a great running game with that guy out of UTEP. They're Williams brothers that play linebacker and pressure the quarterback. I just think it's a bad recipe with the injuries that the Rams accumulated this past weekend. And I think the Packers are going to cover that 6.5. Conversely, the Bills and the Ravens, I think that the Bills have a slightly better quarterback, even though they have the reigning MVP on the Ravens side. And from a coaching perspective, I think that the Bills coach is one of the most dynamic, talented young coaches in the league. and they felt the pain last year with that when they blew a 16-0 lead. And I think they're going to get to the AFC title game, and they're going to handle Baltimore this weekend. So I'll talk about the Sunday games tomorrow, but I wanted to share those thoughts with you and see what you guys thought.
No, it's
Have
good.
a great day, gentlemen.
All right, see you. I think the Rams have a tough road to hoe this week with the injuries. I do. We're going to get into the NFL. We're going to get there. Jerry Palm's coming up next. Micah, I'm going to move that scheduled read. I'll tell you when, but we're going to talk college football next. What that means, I want to talk to him about a little bit about the expansion, the WAC conversation, what we saw on Monday night. Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com is going to be with us next. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM at AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Clark's Pet Emporium is committed to your safety with curbside pickup.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Oh, let's get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. There goes. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Here's Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes it.
Here's Ramos. jump stop to the
Play with the camera a little bit. Oh, there's a Hill, little step, high window, and
Got the second.
the middle.
Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry, Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup.
Gallegos spins, window, finishes.
There's a run coming from
lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez starts.
Alabama's a national champion again. We got an interesting playoff. We'll talk about that. Conference realignment. WAC's going to announce football today. League expansion of the Western Athletic Conference and what that could mean moving forward for New Mexico State. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah's producing on the radio side. Josh is on the television side. You can watch the show, ProViewNetworks.com, and, of course, on our Facebook page, the OD in the AM. We welcome into the program from CBSSports.com. I know you read him on a regular basis. Jerry Palm joins us. Good day, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
You know, lots going on, actually. Lots going on, which is good. Let's start with what we watched on Monday night, a terrific performance by a dynasty, a historic individual performance in the first half, just a team, a program that continues to roll. And I guess the conversation we've all had is historically, Mac Jones said, you know, are they the best team ever? I'm not ready to buy into that. But this, to me, this goes on as long as Nick Saban's there.
Yep. There's no reason, and it might continue after he leaves, depending on who replaces him. But, you know, that they recruit better than anybody. They have the #1 class almost every year. They've got the best coach. And when you got the best players and the best coach, and it's going to be tough to beat them. And that's, and they've obviously got a great culture that focuses on winning championships as opposed to running off to the NFL the first chance you get.
Yeah,
so
I think
it's. I was going to say, yeah, I think it's like everybody who stayed for 4 years at Alabama gets at least one national title.
Well, it feels that way. I think everybody who's been recruited on that roster has won a national title. And so we were talking about how does it happen, right? How do you get there? Longevity, commitment, all those things. And somebody said, well, and history. And I said, well, not necessarily, because I look what Dabo's done at Clemson. It's not like there's a history of being a football power before the last decade.
Moments, but yeah, it's not what you, Clemson is not what you would have called a traditional power 10 years ago. It's a relatively recent development.
So, Jerry, I
agree.
firmly believe
the traditional power in the ACC was Florida State.
No doubt. No doubt. I look at the landscape, and I keep expecting something to bubble up on the West Coast. And I don't know why, maybe because this is where I'm from. But I keep looking at SC, and they've gone through coaches. And so, to me, you got to get the right guy, and that's your point on the right coach. Yep. And Saban's been there. They've had stability at Clemson. Now, the Ohio State model maybe is a little different. But don't you think, whether it's an SC in Oregon, isn't the West Coast prime for some sort of a contender, at least over the next decade?
Yeah, you would think. I mean, it's not like there's no talent out there. California's loaded, right? So, it's not like USC doesn't have to go far to find a lot of talented players. UCLA doesn't have to. Oregon doesn't even really have to. I mean, if you're in the Pac-12, there's a lot of talent, not far away. It's just a matter of getting the right guy to groom it once it gets there. And that, I don't know, has been happening as much in the Pac-12. Oregon, better than most. But and this year, threw everybody off. And that league just, COVID just that battered that league all season long. They never really had a shot. But it was, I don't see any reason why the Pac-12 couldn't have a contender. They just don't seem to at the moment. Ohio State, I mean, you mentioned their model. I mean, their model's the same as Alabama's and Clemson's, get great players and coach them up. The only difference between those two is that Ohio State has had a relatively recent coaching change. But, 2 years into it, seems to still be managing just fine and recruiting just as well as they did before.
Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com, is with us on the opening drive.
Well, Jerry, on Ohio State, what do you make of Justin Fields' season, the roller coaster last 2 weeks he had playing through the injury, and where Ohio State goes from here?
Well, he had a real special game against Clemson. The kind of thing that really I didn't think he was capable of. I saw him as another guy with more, talent, and didn't really have. He had a lot of talent, but he didn't really have a lot in terms of some of the things they look for in quarterbacks, like accuracy and decision making. But because he wasn't tested, he could get away with it. He could make a bad throw and his receivers could bail him out, or it wasn't so bad they couldn't bail him out. But and then he gets that Clemson game and he's on target all day. Even really after he gets hurt, he still did pretty well. But Alabama's different, and when you're not 100% against Alabama, you've got problems. It'll be interesting to see how he translates to the NFL. He's a strong runner. And the NFL team should be able to use that as well, and it's a good weapon. But he's going to have to be an accurate passer who makes good decisions in the NFL and do it quicker than he did it at Ohio State. In fact, significantly quicker than he had to do it at Ohio State.
Jerry, we've definitely seen some wow performances over the last decade in college football. But Devonta Smith, where would you just put him as a dude that you watched play that game?
He set records in a half, records for a full game in a half. And then he touched the ball one more time and went out and was still the MVP. And his season was remarkable. I mean, if you remember at the beginning of the year, he was their second best receiver because Waddle was lighting it up. And then he gets hurt about 4 games in. And Devonta Smith goes out and wins a Heisman Trophy. That his performance against Ohio State was remarkable. And it took him a couple of drives to even really turn him loose, because they got the first 2 touchdowns and they weren't really going deep on those drives. They were dinking and dunking and setting him up for the deep stuff. And then Devonta Smith just went crazy. And he's a special talent, a little guy, but still, little isn't skinny, but tough. And he's going to make a lot of money for somebody at the next level, for himself, for sure.
For him, yeah. Jerry Palm from CBS Sports is with us. All right, what are you hearing on this Boise State, San Diego State, the American Athletic Conference? Obviously, there's some teeth to it. I don't know that I think it's a great move for either one of those schools in the long term, especially when you're considering their non-football programs. I'm not even convinced it's the best move for them football-wise, but what are you hearing?
I'm not really hearing much more than that. They're talking. I don't think it's a great deal for the league. I don't think it's a great deal for the schools, and that's just mostly geography. You've got 2 West Coast teams that aren't within 1,000 miles of any other school in the league, right?
That's correct. Yeah, Houston would be the closest, or SMU,
Tulsa, right?
SMU or Tulsa. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just. And that's 2 time zones. So every road game is a 2 time zone for them.
San Diego State, Boise State's Mountain Time Zone, 1 time zone for Boise State. But yeah, it's a long way.
Oh, right. I forgot Boise's Mountain. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, it doesn't make much sense to me that geographically to do that. And if you're doing it only for football, fine. But then what do, Boise and San Diego do with the rest of their teams, right? They've got to take the rest of their teams into that league, and then that's a real mess. I just don't see I don't see the real value in it. And of course, it doesn't make the American what they want to be, which is a power conference. It doesn't do that for them.
Well, even Jerry,
it makes them better, but it doesn't make them the Big Ten. It doesn't make them the SEC. It doesn't make them the Big 12, right?
Here's what they don't understand. They don't get to make that choice. The Autonomous Five control it. And the Autonomous Five are not going to say, all right, well, you have Boise State and San Diego State. We're going to let you in and share in our revenue. There's no incentive. There's no reason for the Power Five to allow that. And
I'm not talking off the field.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about in name. I'm talking about in game. They're still not at the level of most of the major conferences in football by adding those two teams. They're better, but they're not at the level of those other teams because they still don't have the depth of overall talent, and probably not all of those teams at the top can be successful.
What do you make of the WAC? They're going to make the announcement today that they're going to launch football.
Yeah, I heard about that. They're taking 4 Southland teams.
They're taking. Here's the deal. They're adding. So they've already got Dixie State and Tarleton State in the league. Yep. They're going to add Stephen F. Austin, Lamar, Abilene Christian, Southern Utah, and who am I forgetting? JJ, Sam Houston. And so they're going to have a 7-team FCS league with, the way I understand it, is the intent. They're going to be FCS with the intent of being FBS by the end of the decade, which obviously for New Mexico State, I think all their non-football sports there's a boost. I think what they're doing, first of all, it's some security for the WAC for non-football, but moving forward in football, their intent, because they've got the charter, whatever that means, that they were an FBS league, it makes it a lot easier and less hurdles for them to reopen FBS football.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's great. You know, if they can play football again, that's terrific. Put together a league. I mean, the Southland has got some pretty good teams, 2 of which are going. I think Stephen and Sam Houston have been pretty good historically. So so will New Mexico State join them immediately in football and play at FBS until they can come back?
No, I think the intent is
independent in FBS.
Yeah, the way I understand, we'll know this afternoon. The intent, the way I understand it, is New Mexico State would play out their independent schedule the next X number of years until the WAC came up to FBS, and then they would join football-wise. The way I understand it, but then, you know, who knows what's going to happen between now and tomorrow, let alone now and 5 years from now.
Sure, right, okay. No, I think it's great. I assumed when they added Dixie and Tarleton, it kind of looked like that they were leaning towards, you know, trying to play football because those are schools that play football, right? So it kind of felt like they were making that kind of a move. I just didn't know where they were going to get other teams. But I think I'd seen an announcement that the 4 Southland schools at least were going to go maybe a month ago. Yeah. That was probably going to happen. I didn't know about Southern Utah. That's a Big Sky program. So, you know, I mean, good for the WAC. It'd be nice to have WAC football back. I always liked that league.
I agree.
Well, Jerry, as we put the bow on the college football season and start looking forward to college basketball, how do you even start figuring out what the other half of the NCAA tournament is going to look like outside of the automatic bid?
Well, you know, the same way you always do use the net rankings and, you know, quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 and all of that. It's just that at this point of the season, teams have not played as many games as they normally would. And I've got about 175 conference games that have been postponed and yet to be rescheduled. And some leagues, like the WAC, if there's a problem with COVID, they just cancel the games. They're not making them up. So it's been a chore trying to keep track of the schedule. You've got teams playing a widely varying number of games, which is unusual. There are still 2 teams in the Patriot League that have yet to play a Division I opponent and will not until Saturday, assuming something doesn't happen to those games.
Wow.
So their first Division I games are going to be less than 2 months before Selection Sunday. But that's the kind of thing, you know, and then you've got teams that have played 13 or 14 already. So it just, you know, the teams that haven't played that very many games, and by the way, that includes Duke, who just played their 8th game this week. You know, and Villanova hasn't played in a couple of weeks. You know, teams like that are hard to judge. I mean, you might know they're good, but they haven't had a chance to show you how good they are. And that's especially true of Duke, who doesn't even have, among those 5 wins, anybody worth a darn.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk hoops next week. Hey, did you get a new phone for Christmas, or because this is the clearest your phone? Yeah, it's the clearest your phone has sounded on here probably ever. So that we noticed.
Great.
We noticed
it was just a couple weeks ago. So good. Nice that that's helping.
Yeah, I want a suggestion. I need a new phone too. What'd you get?
I got the iPhone 12.
Beautiful.
iPhone 12 Max Pro. We got a buy one get one free deal, Vicky and I. So we took it. One of the things about us getting married is that we're consolidating all aspects of our lives. So we moved all our stuff to her phone service and upgraded phones and got the kids' phones. And
Beautiful.
But we got some free phones out of it. So
it sounds good. It's the best it sounded. All right, my friend. Be well. Appreciate the time as always. Read him every day over on CBSSports.com and the Twitter handle again, JP Palm.
CBS.
What am I missing? CBS.
Yep.
At JP Palm CBS. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Be well.
All right, take care.
See you. Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com. Am I lying? Is that the best his phone has ever sounded?
Oh, so why'd you get married? For the iPhone.
I got a free phone. I'm not sure that's exactly what he said. I think he said that's kind of a benefit of it, but I'm down. All right, we'll come back. You can respond to what he had to say. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Staples has everything students need to start the
Tell
new
me
semester.
that didn't.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, 20!
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer. Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Ramos wants another!
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
side. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back.
Wait, what? Jerry Palm, breaking news. Got a new phone and got a geography lesson on time zones. See? It's all there for you. I mean, I would be remiss. I don't even know. When do you ever use the word remiss in any other context other than I would be remiss?
Or
like whenever,
is one of those words.
Body of work. Yeah. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that JP Palm CBS had got an upgrade in the cellular device. Sounded better. I may go get me one. Who knew?
And I'm not going to bash anyone for time zones because what time is in Arizona? I have no idea. I never know what time it is in Arizona. I always have to look it up. And then if you start figuring out what Central and the Eastern time zone is there a specific line somewhere? I don't know.
But I had to correct him because he's
wrong.
That's all.
How can you be a college expert if you don't know time zones?
You don't know time zones. That's a hell of a point. What's up, Jay? You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Thanks for holding. Good day, Jay.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Bright-eyed and bushy-tail, ready to excel.
Awesome. So, interesting that let me address two things. Address the rumor about San Diego State and Boise leaving and the expansion of the WAC. So I'll start with the rumor here. And, interestingly enough, we're talking about how there are people that don't know that Boise, for instance, is in the Mountain Time Zone. And we in this market tend to overvalue what this conference is. I mean, granted, they've had more on-field success than the AAC. Okay, that's inarguable. But nationally, the perception of the AAC is going to be different because where a lot of those programs are located.
Bigger markets and better marketing.
Right, bigger markets, better marketing. And the most important aspect, and this is something no one talks about, is that a lot of those schools are located in recruiting hotbeds. Mm-hmm. You don't just run down where these schools are located.
Well, they're Florida and Texas, first of all. Yeah, Florida and Texas.
Florida, Texas, the DMV, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Tulsa, which has, Oklahoma has some underrated high school football. So the conference has a recruiting base.
Correct.
If a kid like the Power 5 schools in those areas can't get all those kids. They can't get every school in the Big Ten can't get, or Ohio State can't get every kid out of Cincinnati. But so that's where a lot of this, I think, lies. And you add San Diego to the mix, Southern California, that's another recruiting area that opens up.
Totally agree.
So that rumor can't be discounted and as simply as, well, it doesn't make sense. Like, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Why is West Virginia in the Big 12? That doesn't make a lick of sense. So there's a lot of stuff that going forward could happen. I mean, it's So it's fluid. Now on to the WAC, which is near and dear to my heart, that it's a big day for that conference, and the hope is those schools will do the things they need to do to become an FBS school, whether it be making the upgrades to stadiums. And if you've been to any of those stadiums, those Southland Conference stadiums, those stadiums rival a lot of,
no doubt,
a lot of the programs that, they rival, like UNM Stadium, Wyoming Stadium. They have a lot of amenities that are similar. So the jump for them is going to be, facility-wise, is going to be not necessarily as great, but the biggest thing is it allows the WAC to get back into FBS football.
And gets them into the Texas recruiting, and I think it has an effect on the Mountain West as well, because all those schools are in there. And now, believe it or not, you're recruiting against, or at least when they get to be Division I, you're recruiting against Stephen F. Austin and Lamar all of a sudden.
Right. That's the biggest thing when Wyoming goes into a kid's living room in East Texas, and their mom is there, and she says, I don't know if I want to travel to Laramie to see my boy play. You can come here to Beaumont. You can stay in Beaumont. Beaumont's a 2-hour drive.
That's right. Hey, Jay, we're at the top of the hour break. But I appreciate the call, and it's all good. Thanks. No, JJ, his points are right on the stadiums, the commitments that those universities will make to football, and the recruiting base. I told you last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, within a short period of time, 5 years of them becoming Division I, they're going to be competitive with most of the teams in the Mountain West. I'm not telling you better. I'm telling you competitive.
That's what it's all about. Recruiting, get the players, start winning the games.
It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, and Micah. We'll get into Lobos' victory last night when we come back. You can get into the expansion talk and the Harden trade as well on the opening drive at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
Nice ProView Networks tonight.
District mashup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh!
Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
He got it!
He scored.
Oh my God!
On the last
second shot. He did. Oh my God. Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in.
Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles, look out! Chavez up the sideline, stays in bounds, touchdown! Volcanovis!
That replay, I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire in first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
Run with it.
Lobos were winners last night. Oh, go ahead. Hit it. All right.
Lobos will push tempo. Manuel catches on the block. Feeds Marin. How about another three? Yes, sir!
He's feeling it.
Marin with back-to-back triples. Lobos 45, Dixie State 32.
Sorry, that was weird.
UNM on a 12-0 run over a 4-minute span.
That run ran to 14-0, 20-4 run. Isaiah Marin referenced there, 13 points as the Lobos win 72-63. They beat Dixie State last night in St. George, Utah. That was Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green on the UNM radio network. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. It's the opening drive for you on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. So where are you with that Lobo win last night? Some of you are like, yeah, whatever. Some of you are, well, we needed that. I think. Oh, I'll tell you where I am. Yeah, you needed that. Not a great win in terms of the program's history, but a big win in terms of the team's development. Different between team and program. Team meaning this group of players. The team meaning the group that had lost 6 games in a row and just saw one of its best players opt out for the rest of the season. Team meaning that group who is moving from Lubbock to Albuquerque to Lubbock to Albuquerque to St. George to Vegas to St. George to wherever's next. Program-wise, no, it's not one of the biggest victories ever. But for this particular group of individuals, JJ, a big win for them last night. You could tell it just in the postgame, the smiles, the relief, the fun that it felt like they were having playing basketball again, and the confidence.
Team is the biggest aspect of all that. It's about in this moment, right here and right now. These guys needed a confidence boost. We all see the writing on the wall. We understand that this means absolutely nothing in terms of, well, now you're going to go out there and out-rebound UNLV. You're going to go out there and beat them inside. No, but it gives you that boost you need to get back to work as a student-athlete to say, all right, let's continue to grind, buy in, give the effort, and then hopefully you start seeing the progress in those matchups. And one of the things Paul Weir addressed last night is this team is still learning how to play against good competition. And it's evident. The first 3 teams they played, you realize Utah State's pretty darn good. Like, they're favored over San Diego State tonight. Boise State is just a monster right now in a Mountain West Conference. You could say at this moment they're the best team. And so you talk about you're thrown into the fire right off the bat against top-level athletes on the perimeter, legit grown men inside the post, and you're figuring out how this all works with such a young team, young forwards. And then you look at, a true freshman, which is potentially emerging as your best option at the point guard position. So what you hope from last night is the confidence to keep working, keep grinding, say, all right, what is our next step going to be? Is it how do we start improving on some of these little things against the better opponents, against Mountain West players?
Out rebounded the Trailblazers 52-39. Had 10 block shot or 11 block shots, right? 11 block shots in the game. Which is one short of a school record for one game. You were bigger than them, you out-athleted them, and you win a game, and maybe got a little confidence. Does that translate into a win in Vegas this weekend? I don't know. I don't know that it doesn't. But I will tell you, I feel that you got a better chance of going to Vegas and winning now than maybe you did 24 hours ago. And I feel that you have a better chance if you didn't than if you didn't play this game. And I say that simply because of confidence. And I think no matter what you do, and I don't care if you're playing golf or working on an accounting sheet, if you have the confidence that you know what you're doing, you're going to be better at what you do. It's really that simple. Does it make you better? I think it does. Yeah, I think if you know, if you're not questioning yourself, or at least not questioning yourself as much, yeah, you're going to be better. When I pick up a 7-iron and I buy into that as opposed to, God, should I hit a light 8 or a big 7? Buy into it. I know I'm going to hit a better shot, or at least I think I am, and I have a better chance. Same thing for a basketball team going out there. And I just, to me, there's something about the confidence. Does that mean that they're going to win tomorrow night in Vegas? No, it doesn't mean that. Or when do they play, Saturday? It doesn't mean that. But I think it gives them a better chance.
Yeah, it's about opportunity and chances, and you want to go in there and give you the chance and compete and have the opportunity in a contest. And that's what the yesterday does. It gives you that little bit of spark. You get back to work, show up, keep grinding. Because if they lose to Dixie State and the first half carried over into the second half where everything is just a struggle, even when you're executing, you can't buy yourself a basket, you're not getting anything done inside, you're worried that UNLV game, it could be like 20-2 at the first media timeout. Like, that's the stuff that you're thinking about, that's on your mind. And what yesterday was, when they took over and said, yeah, we have athletes, we should be better, let's execute and do that, they were able to. And now it's, all right, let's start chipping away against Mountain West opponents, against better players, and you start testing yourself in those situations. How does Matos and Manuel respond in the post moving forward? How does Marin do against UNLV backcourt that's going to be quicker, it's going to be up in your face, it's going to be more aggressive? And it's the little things, and no one wants to hear it, but that's the reality of the situation right now for this team. I think you put it greatly. This isn't a program definer. This is just right now all their focus is team moment, what's happening tomorrow, what's happening the day after.
Yeah, and that's where I'm telling you, if you guys are calling in and who cares, and they were playing in the that's fine. I think you just sometimes have to separate in the moment the difference between the program and the team. This isn't a program-defining victory. This in the history of this program, this is going to be a blip. This is going to be who gives a damn, right? But for this particular group of individuals, I think this is, at least in the moment, and it might, honestly, next week it might be who gives a damn. If you go out and lose these 2 games to Vegas, it doesn't mean a thing. Right? If you get run off the court by double digits in these 2 league games next week, then you're right. This game didn't mean a damn thing.
It's just Rice. It's a team that you're still more talented than, but have a bunch of issues.
Yeah. John says, hey, guys, great win last night. Even though it was a D2 team in their first year up in Division I, we got to appreciate anything at this point. Doesn't matter being in a top 50 TV market or having a top 7 basketball venue or being consistently a top 30 in attendance over 30 years. You're right. We don't deserve a team capable of being considered a threat to win the Mountain West Conference every year. I don't know how us Lobo fans even think we should be better than what Dr. Weir is giving us. You're so on point with us being selfish, greedy, and delusional. I truly apologize for my delusional opinions on the Lobos and wanting a team worthy of a top 7 venue with 4 frowny faces. I don't know I ever said, or you ever said, we don't, like what is that referencing?
Oh, it's sarcasm. I think it's taking a shot that we're not saying burn it all down. It's the evaluating in the moment. Like, this is what we're working with. This is what we watched last night. Like, your expectations aren't crazy that you have as a Lobo fan. They're not hitting them right now. But there are two conversations that are being had at the same time. You have people like John that want us to burn the place down, that want us to shred Lobo basketball. We're acknowledging they're not good, and they've been terrible in Mountain West play. But we're just also trying to figure out why are they terrible right now? Because you're not hiring Urban Meyer, you're not hiring Greg Popovich tomorrow. So we're also just addressing the situation as is, what they did last night, in the hope that this team in this moment has going into the weekend.
I'll be pretty clear where I stand. You do have the right on an annual basis to believe that you should compete in this league. I don't know if on an annual basis you should be competing for a national championship. But yeah, I do believe this program, the resources, the facility, the everything around it. Yeah, I do believe that this program and your fans should go into a yearly basis believing you should compete for a championship in this league. Some years are going to be better than others. I don't think you're going to be a dynasty. I think there's going to be down years. Now, you got to get to a point where what are your down years? Right? I think a model would be what San Diego State's done. When your down year is you're going to the NIT, or at least considered for the NIT, right? A down year. Look, I'm making zero excuses. A down year should not be when you're getting beat by an average of 26 points in league play and you're 0-6. Unacceptable, right? I think you admit that. I think Paul would admit that, right? But nobody. I'm not telling you, John, that, and I don't think JJ is. I'm not. I guess I'm a little confused. Yeah,
you're not taking it out enough on Lobo basketball, and specifically Paul Weir. That's what I get from that email.
Is it me or you, man? I think it's you.
It's probably me. I apologize for talking about a basketball game last night and not just spending every single minute of this show saying, why is that coach still here?
Yeah. I got an email from Sid on his AOL account when we come back. Ned uses AOL too, right?
He does.
Yeah. Yeah, I got.
It works.
I got that.
It still sends.
Yeah, no, damn right it does. I got no issues with it. But I'll read that for you when we come back. 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Don't be a victim of property crime, whether it's at home or business. I strongly suggest you call International Protective Service. IPS is the security company that I have trusted for years now to watch my home. They patrol my home on a daily basis. They are there. They are visible. And if my alarm ever goes off, like yours or anybody else's who uses their service, they will be there within 5 to 7 minutes, often sooner, with armed, trained security officers, and they catch the bad guys. Property crime's been on the increase. I think you know that. It's a tough time. Take action. This is like insurance, security insurance for your home. It's a tough one, I know, to bite the bullet and say, I want to pay for something. Don't do it too late. Don't wait until something bad happens. Let IPS protect your home or your business with on-site guards or 24-hour patrols and stop crime before it happens to you. And if you go out of town, they will secure your home. They will secure your business. They'll pick up the newspaper, the mail, move the garbage cans to the curb and back on garbage day. Just give your home that lived-in look and give you that peace of mind. The phone number is 505-897-2420. That's 505-897-2420, or go to ipsglobal.com.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Fork driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Screechers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transitions, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass. Wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
Cahola, a little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Jalen Bond back, LAU, put it down. Dunkalicious, how about it?
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And hot it, sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
82-63 in St. George, Utah, home of the Dixie State Trail Blazers. Snap a 6-game losing streak. And now it's on to Las Vegas. We're on to UNLV. What did the win mean to you? Was it anything? Was it a good win, a bad? Like I told you, it's a good win. I've never seen a bad win, JJ. I'm not sure I've ever seen a bad win. I know a lot of people have, but I'm not sure I have. You play to win the game. You win by 4 on the road at Fresno State. To me, that's a good win. You win by 9 on the road at Dixie State to snap a 6-game skid. To me, it's a good win. I'm not telling you, there's varying levels. There's big wins, great wins, huge wins, program-defining wins, and then there's, last night. And for that team, not the program, but for that team, and maybe even the program at this point, but for that team, for that group of young men, I tell you, it's a fairly significant win.
Yeah, there's two things happening at the same time. It's what Paul Weir, that coaching staff and the players are dealing with and trying to do at this moment. And then it's also the fan base that is looking at the overall picture. And they're talking about the program and where it's at and why is it down and why are we not doing this and or that. So, yeah, it's two separate conversations that if you're talking about one, people are wondering, well, why are you not talking about the other? We're just reacting to what happened last night. What these players were saying, what we've seen in the moment, because they've been very bad in Mountain West play. And how do you start chipping away at that? That is the team conversation, and I think you put it rightly. Now, I like the way you presented that this morning. There's conversation about team and then the moment, and then the overarching program is separate and wasn't going to be decided by Dixie State. Now, it could have gone that way had they scored 30 points and lost by 20. Then you're in a different situation. But now it's just confidence on to Vegas.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I've told you a long time, there's a difference between a team and a program. We watch good teams and we watch programs have one good year, but what happens to the program? Where are they? And you've got to have good teams before you build an overall good program. But I think therein lies a difference. Sid loved WAC TV, JJ. Sid loved WAC TV. He says, remember when Lobo football played Hawaii? And you were trying to explain how to watch the game. You had to download something, then click in the corner, but only on Tuesday between 12 and 2, and you had to be standing on your head in the corner of the room. Yeah, I remember that. In fact, I think we had Frank on to explain how to download the app. And yeah, he says, well, last night it was one mouse click, and I was watching the game with outstanding video quality. And the best part is it was free. That might have been the most enjoyable contest to view since the KGGM days. Lobo Athletics and the Mountain West Conference could learn a lot about how to make games easily and readily available. It's from Sid. A little surprising, huh? Sid's favorite. Now I don't. Maybe Sid doesn't have the package in FS1 and CBS Sports, which is fine. And the WAC doesn't get the money. The reason the games are on WAC TV because they don't have a television package that's paying them that money that you're getting from Fox Sports 1. To me, Fox Sports 1 and CBSSports.com or CBS Sportsnet are not hard to find. Channel 219 and Channel 221 for me. But I will, on his side on this, it was a nice stream. I thought the broadcast was fine. The replays came quickly. The radio announcer, it was the radio broadcast for Dixie State, which is typically how these are handled. They take the home radio feed. But it was easy. You went to wacsports.com or whatever, clicked on WAC TV, and one more click, and you were on the game. It was easy. And it was a good feed.
Yes, as someone who covers a lot of games via stream, it was nicely done.
Yeah. He wants all the Mountain West games to be like that. Okay. Glenn says latrine. Jeff, after that, you're going to start getting hints that you shouldn't be making your summer vacation plans. Oh, wait, you can breathe easy, Jeff. I saw Dr. Disgrace talk yesterday, and I think Valentine's Day is the next thing that's going to be canceled. After that, you're going to start getting hints that you shouldn't be making your summer vacation plans yet. Governor talks today. Yeah, look, they're going to tell you to hold on with everything. Yes. But I saw some beautiful commercials about Zion yesterday during the Lobo game on WAC TV. Zion National Park looks beautiful. They got blue sky.
Zion Williamson. What were the? There's
no.
Commercials about Zion.
Yeah, did you see any of the commercials during that beautiful WAC TV stream? You didn't watch the commercials, bro?
Maybe it's a convenient excuse for some people this year, too. I'm sorry. I thought Valentine's Day was canceled. That's why I didn't get you anything. It's not my fault. They canceled it.
Dude, if I recall right, Valentine's Day means quite a bit to your wife. Or at least one year it certainly did.
It probably still does. I'm not
Remember the pressure that one year that you were feeling, you're like, dude, I got to come through. I got to come through. That was a big year. It seems like yesterday, but it also seems like 16 years ago.
Look at what has happened now. You're married and have a kid.
It all worked out. It all worked out. Moving on up, says Bad Street. Jeff, yesterday you had a caller to ask what happened to Leonard. I heard him yesterday on the Big Stick. He called our show yesterday too, Bad Street. P.S. Crusher is showing his age. He keeps referring to Dixie Chicks and Hootie and the Blowfish. I'll bet Micah has no idea who either of those acts are. Micah, do you know Dixie Chicks and Hootie and the Blowfish are?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of them. I know who they are.
Okay.
Do you know of Hootie and the Blowfish because of Key and Peele?
Probably.
Do you know the lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish is/was?
See, once you get into the details of it, no.
He's somewhat, since changed genres and had quite a solo career, Darius Rucker. Do you know who Darius Rucker is?
That I do.
All right. I'm giving my daughter, and actually she's eating it up, a tutorial, and it's really kind of in the last few weeks, on old school music. I told you we broke out the turntable the other day, and I've got 3 crates of records, and they go back a way now. And so we've been kind of going through, and she was doing her homework last night. She's like, Dad, can we put a record on in the background? I'm like, sure we can. What do you want to listen to? She goes, well, I don't know. So we pulled out some old Dream Syndicate or some Beat Farmers or some Clash. We're on the first crate alphabetically. We're still kind of bouncing through that. So we had some Dream Syndicate. There's a Cover Me album that I had. It was various artists covering Bruce Springsteen written songs, which was actually really cool last night. So we're bouncing through that. Little Jason and the Scorchers, and yeah, but she's getting a Husker Du. So she's getting a little education in some old school music, and she's loving it, which it's like, JJ, I told you, Saturday was one of the greatest days of my life. I did some TV, recorded something, and Addie came with me, and she's only kind of heard about my TV career, and seen some stuff. So she got to do some of that, had some Wex, came back, and spun records, watched the Rams win. She's like, pulled out a Rams hat. Dad, we got to wear matching Rams hats. Okay. And then the Aztecs won that night. It was kind of just sitting there spinning records with my kid, and the Rams won. It was kind of one of the greatest days ever, and we didn't do all that much. It was awesome.
It's nice.
I think that
you get reminded, oh, this is why I like this stuff when the good things happen. It's enjoyable.
Yeah. That's why I do. I think that's why I kept all those records all those years and moved them from place to place, city to city. And why am I keeping all these albums? And here we are now, just go ripping through
10
albums.
years from now, I'm going to find an iPod and be like, look, let's plug this in and see what's on it.
Let's see what's on here. I know. Instead of this little chip that's in our head to play our music. All right, 505-246-0610. You can get in. We'll reset for you. Thoughts on the James Harden trade? We haven't really talked about the big breaking news nationally this morning. I don't know if it's broken yet, that Urban Meyer seems like it's very, very close to being the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's all on the table for you at 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal and ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up off the middle, it's got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds, into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
The outside, running an out route. Davis in the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown.
Back to tossing. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davis into Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he
touchdown.
Could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the wind at his back, but.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the 3, and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double kick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores and is fouled.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a
around the screen against White. Step back, it's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a!
I agree with all that. He was a playmaker, all of those things. You know, you're looking for who's going to score, and we've had this conversation now for however many weeks. Where are they going to get points? And you'd like to believe some of it's going to come from him. I don't want to draw too many conclusions out of what I saw last night, but I'd like to believe that maybe we can start to see some potential. You got points out of Isaiah Marin. I still like what I see. I like Jeremiah Francis. I do. I think he's got a big role in the next couple of years with this program. But to know that you've got Marin, who's got those offensive skills, and Paul admitted last night, is challenged defensively. So what do you do, and how long are you able to play that, to walk that line? to see what Singleton did last night, and then let Malawach fall into his role as being a guy who's going to get his 12 to 14 points. I think then you've got the basis of building on something there. And then, let Matos develop. Everybody, when he showed up last year and you saw this guy sitting on the bench and the specimen physically, and you thought, oh, my goodness, he's going to be the greatest thing ever and best center we've had since Luke Longley. And, easy. Maybe he will be, but let it develop. And I know you don't want to let anything develop. I got that. We've had time for that. But I guess I saw, even Rod Brown last night had 8 points and 12 rebounds, right? You saw some of these, I don't know, flashes. And again, I'm not going to read too much into it because they've got to. While you're going to tell me Utah State and Boise State are still the best teams in the league and how they look, if you're going to be the best team in the league, or to John's email earlier, well, then you got to be able to play with the Boise States and the Utah State. So you got to be able to see it against them. But at least you saw a little flash last night.
And I think that's the frustration is you're not there, and that's not the team who the Lobos are right now. And people are just frustrated, like, why are we waiting for them again to get to that point? It's the reality is the team that we watched, unfortunately, get blown out is who is closer to who they are, because you have a lot of young dudes learning to play the game. Like, Matos looks great, man. Yeah, he can lift weights, but do you have the footwork? Do you have the touch around the rim? He doesn't have that yet, but he's got to get there. And the same thing for Valdir, man. He's the guy that he needs to calm down because he has the length. He has a lot of athleticism to get up and down the court, but sometimes he's just so excited. He does these ridiculous push shots and hook shots, and it's about learning the game. It's the fans hate it. They're not about development, because I get it. Why do we watch? Watch for the outcome. What's the trust the process? No one likes the process. You like the result of said process. But
Sean,
for the Lobos, they're right smack in the middle of the process.
All right, back to the phones. 505-246-0610. Sean, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, Sean.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's it going?
It's good, man. How you doing?
Doing well. So this weekend, I'm excited for a weekend of football again, but it's sad as a Jets fan watching every other quarterback drafted in that first round play playoff football. But Sam Darnold and your guy Josh Rosen.
What about Josh Rosen? I mean, what are you saying?
That
Sam and Darnold are the only ones not playing this weekend.
Oh, they are. Oh, yeah.
And that's sad to see.
Well, they can't all play, I guess. I mean, somebody's got to be on the outside looking in, and it just happens to always be your guy.
Always. But I'd like to talk about our head coaching search that's going on.
Yeah.
Saleh is the only guy that's been asked back twice. What do you think about Saleh for head coach?
Honestly, I think he's terrific, and I'd love to see him out of the NFC West. I'd love to see him stop running the Niners defense, because what the Niners defense has done to the Rams since he's been there has been bothersome, and I would love to see him take over the Jets.
The Niners had players literally quitting their team before the guy showed up.
Yeah, I think he's terrific.
Again, I think he'd be a great hire.
Yeah, I think he's terrific, and guys want to play for him. I think he's young, he's innovative. I don't know what the negative is, other than maybe he doesn't have head coaching experience, but I think he's terrific.
Even with that, I'd be curious to see the staff that he puts together as well.
Okay.
I'd be curious to see how that goes.
I think all of these guys rely
on the Jaguars for their Urban Meyer pickup.
That works, doesn't it? I think he works there. I think he puts together a good enough staff, and I think that works in Jacksonville.
I think so. I don't think this happens, but do you think that sways his choice to go for Justin Fields?
I don't.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. All right, man. Sorry about.
Have a good one.
Later. Look, somebody's got to be on the outside looking in, right? They can't all be there. I think Saleh's a terrific choice. To be honest with you, I think him and Bieniemy are the two guys that as far as coordinators, and this is take it for what it is. This is a limited knowledge. I don't know any of these guys intimately, but just from the outside looking in, those are the two coordinators that really pop to me.
Yes, it's the hot names. It's kind of what we see, what's been out there. It's all about staff and then responsibilities. Like, what are you doing? And that is, you look at someone like a John Harbaugh, who was a special teams coordinator, didn't really know about him, but he's a great manager and he knows how to keep everyone in place, knows, all right, this is my strength, I will let you do that. And that's the key is, all right, if you want to bring in Robert Saleh, maybe he'll have more of a defensive focus, but can he manage everyone better than what Adam Gase did and then bring someone in, to run that offense? Same thing with Eric Bieniemy. It's, all right, he's the head coach, but he's going to have that offensive focus. Now, how is he going to manage the whole team? I will say, I'm not all in on Urban Meyer. I have zero, just confidence that Urban Meyer, because he was great in college, is going to go in there and light it up in Jacksonville. I have a lot more questions about that Jacksonville franchise, especially Shad Khan, who has talked in very Jerry Jones-like fashion about how he wants to control and manage that roster. What is Urban Meyer going to do at the NFL he's going to come in, to Edward's point earlier as well, be in the AFC Championship game in the next few years?
I want to know why you've got those reservations, because I think he succeeds. But we'll have that conversation when we come back. You can still get in at 505-246-0610 on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A three for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good...
Here's Ramos. Step back. High arcing. Twine!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, they're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes! And the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack. Davina Lovato up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Got into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer for Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Brings to the far side foot. Shot on aim. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Stripped. Galeon stripped him. The Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Urban Meyer reported to be close to a deal to coach the Jacksonville Jaguars. Never coached in the NFL, or at least as the head coach. Success at Bowling Green in Utah and Florida and Ohio State. Okay, analyst at Fox. Now taking over Jacksonville potentially. JJ doesn't think that'll work. I kind of do. Why don't you think that'll work?
I am just going with what we've seen before. What's going to make an NFL job any less stressful? Hasn't it been kind of the issue where he overworks himself and then he has to step away? And yes, you have salary cap space, but you're also not just going to step in there and go, hey, I'm Urban Meyer, best players in the NFL. You want to come play in Jacksonville? It doesn't work that way. It's an entirely different process. And while he was a great college football coach, he was, with what he's done at the programs, his ascension to the top, I'm not buying it because we don't see it. We've seen many guys that are great at that level swing and miss at the NFL level, and I'm not all in on Urban Meyer. He's a name.
Including Nick Saban, by the way.
Yeah. He's a name. I don't think he's a great NFL hire.
So I think it's a good NFL hire, and I think there's no reason for them to not do this. Like what do the Jacksonville Jaguars have to lose, right? They're 1-15. They're going to have the first pick again. They're brutal. They're going to start with a new franchise quarterback. They need to overhaul. So he gets a couple of years, right? He gets a honeymoon. I'm not sure I buy the reason that he left Ohio State was all because of the health reasons. I believe that that's part of the reason. I do believe that wasn't completely fabricated. But recall the heat that was on Urban Meyer with all the off-field stuff and the assistant coach and the wife and this reported spousal abuse and everything that went on there, right? I don't know that I buy the only reason that he left was because of the stress and it was too much for him. I think that was a part of it. I think if he hires a staff, and I think there'll be plenty of people, very well qualified NFL people who are going to go and work for Urban Meyer. If Shad Khan gives him the resources, and I believe he will, I think he's a good football coach. I think he's a good football mind. I think he's going to I think they're going to have success. Now, I don't know if that means they win a Super Bowl, but I look around at that division. Houston is in shambles. Indianapolis is good, but kind of on the brink because they're at that franchise. Who's our next franchise quarterback place? And the Titans are good. I think the Titans are the best franchise in that division. So I think he's in a position in a division where he can have success. And I think he's a good football coach who has had success everywhere he's gone. I mean, for every guy that it hasn't worked, I mean, there's a few that it has. It's worked for Pete Carroll. It worked. I don't know if it worked for Bill O'Brien. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how Matt Rule does. But tell me, what does Jacksonville have to lose? What's a better hire for them?
I agree with you in that aspect. It's rolling up to the club, blacked out Mercedes, stepping out, clean suit, looking fresh, flashy, 100%. I just don't think it's going to work football wise. I just don't see it. And what makes you think that, if you want to point out, okay, that was a relationship issue at Ohio State, if he's going to bring in a lot of people that he's worked with before, that all of a sudden that's just going to be cleaner because they're dealing with professional athletes. It's entirely possible, but I'm not on board. I would be betting on seeing it, been there, done that, and it's you named Pete Carroll, and then guys that it's like, we'll see. And so I'm just going down that route of great college coaches, whatever it is, whether they're talking the NBA, the NFL, that's just an entirely different world.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot. To your point, there's not a lot of college coaches who were successful at the college level that have moved up. I'm looking through I'm really struggling finding a few more. I know I'm missing somebody. Who else? I'll go back to J.K. McKay or John McKay with USC and all the success he had, and went to Tampa Bay and they were 0-16. Harbaugh at Stanford and the 49ers took him to the Super Bowl. I mean, you would say Harbaugh, right?
Yes, that's a thumbs up. So I'm with you. I
Kingsbury
from winning the press conference. Instead, thanks for listening.
Sorry, I didn't hear that one.
It's like winning the press conference, swinging for the fences, the bat flip. That's an Urban Meyer hire, and it's going to get everyone excited. I just don't think it's going to work when it comes to games.
Cliff Kingsbury work? Is verdict still out on that?
Verdict is still out on that. Yes.
Okay. All right. I think it's going to work. I do. But we'll see. And I think it's a fine hire because I just don't know what I think is better. I don't think that they're getting Eric Bieniemy. I think there's plenty of other jobs that he can get that are better than that job that he'll go to. I don't think they get Saleh. I think there's other jobs that are better. What are there, 8 open right now? We're open with the Jets, with the Texans, with the Jaguars, with Atlanta. Chicago's not. Detroit, the Eagles. So there's 6 jobs open, right?
Chargers.
And the Chargers. All right, so 7 jobs open. I just think there's so they're not getting one of those hot young,
I think they absolutely could get one of those guys because you're coming in with a number 1 draft pick. I think Eric Bieniemy, you're telling them this is you, this is all you. It's not you're coming in, you have to work with Sam Darnold, coming in, have to work with Matt
Justin
Stafford,
Herbert.
It's you get Herbert would be very intriguing, but this is all everything is you. This is blank slate. If you like Trevor Lawrence, boom, guess what? You get to mold him into your image.
And it's Jacksonville and this organization that's been absolutely brutal. And I could go to Philly. I could go to places that have won, that have a better roster, that I don't have to start all over. I'm honestly, I look at the Chargers. Now I got it. I'm in Mahomes' division.
2 minutes.
The best overall roster available
is what?
Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're getting Derwin James back too, so the defense is going to pick up.
Now, would I go to Jacksonville before the Jets? I'd really consider that. To me, the Jets is a tough job, man. The Jets is a tough job. But Urban Meyer's going to be fine. I think it's a good hire if they go there. They're going to pay him a lot of money. They're going to sell a lot of tickets, assuming you can have fans in the stands. But in Florida, I don't think COVID exists, does it? You're allowed to.
Do I want to hang out in MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in November or December? Back down in Florida.
Easy decision, is it not? Thanks to Jerry Palm for being with us from CBSSports.com. The Jim Rome Show is next. Dan Patrick Show follows that. Sports Bar with Trulio and Carlisle comes up this afternoon at 3. We're back tomorrow with more local sports talk. Starting at 7 a.m., award-winning radio for you on the opening drive. I believe Jeff Hurd, the WAC commissioner, will be with us at some point in tomorrow's show. Good job, Josh. Always. Micah, thanks for listening. JJ, enjoy the day.
Have a day, y'all.
I'll see you on a Zoom call somewhere along the way. Be good to each other. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
You start taking care of y'all mentals, y'all bodies, and y'all chicken.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District mashup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did. Oh my God!
Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlings, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.